Hello and welcome to Quarterlight, your car brochure channel, and today on Ford Friday we're going to look at the Mark I Ford Granada. Hello, welcome back to Quarterlight. If you're new to Quarterlight, we look at car brochures from around the world for the 60s, 70s, 80s and 90s. So if you're interested in cars and car brochures, then considering giving us a like and a subscribe, that helps us greatly. Today, it's Friday. Every Friday we look at a Ford here. We call it Ford Fridays. Today, we're into the 70s and we're looking at the Mark I Ford Granada. And this particular brochure is a UK brochure from 1973. So let's have a look at that now. So, as I show you the front cover, it's a very plain front cover, isn't it, for this 1973 Ford Granada, quite simply saying the Ford Granada. So let's just dive straight in and see what the first page has to offer. So when we open the page, we dive straight into it with two really nice images of this Mark I Granada and some text in extremely small writing. We may just pick out some points, but we're not going to read it all because it's too wordy, but I think we'll start off by zooming on this main image. So when I zoom in, you can see it's a very reflective paper, so it's hard to really zoom in very nicely. So I will zoom in a bit further just to make it a little bit more clearer. But when we're looking at these Granadas, don't forget, this is the time we also had the Consul. So the Consul was like the lower versions of the Granada. So I think more high spec when you look at these Granadas at this time, although I kind of think there's still a bit of an overlap between the Granada and the Consul, to be honest with you. But this is certainly a very high spec one. This is the GXL. This brochure is just showing two models really. The Granada, just called the Granada, and the GXL. And it's also got the Estate. Doesn't appear to be in GXL's trim, it just seems to be in standard Granada trim. But like I say, the lower models were the Consul, so the range even at this time is larger than what you think it is. Let's just zoom in a little bit further. So as we zoom in on the front end, we can see this is a UK L plate. Remember, this is a 1973 brochure. Now, like I said, this will be the top of the range one. So we can see things like these overriders on the bumpers. We can see these fog lights just about. And we can see these full wheel trims as well. Now I've just added a basic Ford Consul from the same era. Well, same era, this is 74. But the differences are clear. You know, no overriders on this Consul. If we look at the wheel trims, the wheel trims are just like centre caps, where the Granada's got that full wheel trim. The Consul there's just got a stripe, a pinstripe, where the Granada's got a proper rubbing strip. Kind of like looks like it's chrome with like black rubber by the looks of it. Consul doesn't have them overriders, like I say, didn't have those fog lights, but it's not really the true story, that, because you could get Consuls with these overriders on there. You could get them with fog lights on them. So there was certainly an overlap. So really what we're looking at here is kind of at the top of the range Granada and kind of at the bottom of the range Consul. I think the main difference between the Granada and the Consul though is that grille. You can see that Granada's got them horizontal lines going down it, and the Consul's got this much more basic sort of like a two box type grille, not as attractive as what is on that particular top of the range Granada. But even the Consul had a different grille if you pick the GT, so there is definitely an overlap between those. So it's not the full story really, just to think about the Consul as the base models and the Granada as the top models. There was certainly some sort of overlap there. And you can see on this main picture of the Consul brochure, it does have overriders, fog lamps, etc, etc. So you could get high spec Consuls, like I say. And incidentally, this particular brochure for the Ford Consul we have looked at before. So there is a brochure review for the Ford Consul, and if I remember, I'll do a link to that at the end of this video. But anyway, sticking to this Granada, Like I said, this is top of the range, so you've even got a nice vinyl roof on this particular example. Incidentally, someone was saying that the Consul didn't have quite as good rust proofing as the Granada, hence why you don't see as many Consuls. I'm not sure how true that is. I think probably the real reason you don't see as many Consuls is that they weren't built for as many years, but who knows? With Ford, that may well be possible that they didn't treat them quite as well as the Granada. And it's also got this nice shot of the interior of the Granada. It does look a little bit plain, a little bit cheap there, doesn't it? Certainly when we think about newer Granadas, of course. But they have tried to put a little bit of very fake looking wood in there by the looks of it. But we do get a radio, and we're thinking about 1973. Not all cars came with a radio, of course. And of course, all these extra gauges and a rev counter. So for the times, it was quite well equipped. It's just kind of like when you look at the back of it now, it looks extremely plain and extremely basic, I think. Like I said, it is very wordy, but I've just kind of like chosen a little bit of a passage. It starts by introducing the models available in this brochure: the Granada GXL, and the Granada Estate. It says they've been built with the same good things in mind: good look, space and comfort allied to unrivaled reliability. Did someone say comfort? Luxury, more like it. And it does tend to talk more about the top of the range one, unsurprisingly. A checklist of the luxury features inside the Granada GXL reads like a roll call of all the best of the good things in life. From the big things like the slide-mounted, fully reclining, comfortable front seats, to the little things like a vanity mirror for the lady who sits in the passenger seat. Everything you'd expect to find in a car that's got everything and more. So, you certainly wouldn't get wording like that in a newer brochure, of course. And then we move on. It gives more or less sort of like images of that top of the range GXL, but also the one it's just referring to as the Granada and Granada Estates, which we'll look at as well. You could also notice, of course, there's more attractive grille even on the lowly Granadas compared to the Consul. But anyway, let's start by looking at some of these GXL images and maybe a little bit of this text. So first, starting off, zooming in on the GXL badge, which is attached to that vinyl roof. Tells us that vinyl roof is either in parchment or black. So that's a nice feature of the GXL. Apparently also came with a sunroof as well. We also get these full sort of metal chromed wheel hubs or wheel caps. Now we can actually see the sunroof there, can't we, in that vinyl roof. So, think high spec for the times, the GXL. Moving down to that interior of the GXL. Very nice looking seats, very big centre armrest in the back, and you can see the automatic gear lever there as well. And you can kind of like just about make out that sort of like fake wood on the doors as well. Moving down to more nice features, showing us that fog lamp, which we just about made out before. Those big overriders. You can also see the rear end. I particularly like the Mark 1's rear lights, actually. Probably more than any other Granada, actually. I do prefer the rear of the Mark 1. You can see how the Granada script is and the GXL badges, though. And you've also got wonderful features like a heated rear window. And in fact, all this text is on about the GXL. They're really trying to promote that GXL more than any other model in this brochure, to be honest with you. A little bit of information there. It's telling you that standard is the automatic transmission on there. Then it goes on to tell you the extras like that. Then fog lamps and the heated rear window on there as well. All the luxuries, as it tells you. It does also give you some text about the Ford Granada estate as well, though. Telling us here, how large the estate is, really lots of like specifications, how big it was, Says almost anything you have in mind to move the Granada estate will gladly move it for you. Also starts talking about luxuries as well. It does also state that in fact it's just about the biggest estate car load space in Europe, and they were big cars. I always liked the Granada estates, really. They looked good and they were good, load luggers, really, weren't they? It also tells you a bit about how fantastically luxurious this car is as well. Luxurious cut pile carpeting. Well, if you're going to go for luxury, go the whole way. And like I say, it wasn't really luxurious by today's standard, but like I say, Consul with your more base models, Granadas with your higher spec ones. Finishes off by saying, outside the Granada estate looks as good as a Granada should, and the firm, smooth 3-litre V6 engine up front makes light work of the heaviest loads up back. All in all, the Granada is one of the biggest, most luxurious estate cars in Europe. So here is the more base Granada, like I said, just called the Granada. I do like them in red though, these big Granadas. But you can see at the front it's got them overriders. It does look like it's got fog lights in there though, which is quite nice. And of course the white one in the back there is the big estate. No passenger side mirrors on there though. But overall, I think they're very well proportioned, attractive cars, these more ones. We do get another nice interior shot though, and obviously we're back to the GXL, which like I say, this brochure is favouring. Like I say, standard with that automatic transmission, a little bit of wood on the doors, that lovely rear armrest. It does look a comfortable place to be. It does tell you some sort of figures on there though, so it starts talking about and if your choice of travelling power, there's a 220 horsepower 2.5 litre V6 that clocks a maximum speed of 106, accelerated from 0 to 60 in 10.8 seconds, which wasn't bad considering that was a lower power plant. And then we've got the 138 horsepower V6 3-litre engine that can go with a manual transmission to 130 miles per hour and then 9 seconds from 0 to 60. So pretty quick cars for the size and particularly for the time, of course. Tells us with either engine there are plenty of good things to go with it. Fully independent suspension, servo assisted dual braking system, wide track long wheelbase and low centre of gravity. The foundation of Granada's safe, stylish, comfortable performance that always makes them going good. And then again, tells you the performance figures and the actual size of that 2.5, which is nice to show them figures in there actually. And also just confirming those performances for the 3-litre. Even tells us the estate car 0 to 60 9.7 seconds, which is fast for 1973 in such a huge vehicle. We also get a rather nice colour chart with this brochure and rather nice colour choice really for the Granada. So diamond white, burgundy red, Sebring red, Monza blue, marine blue, which kind of looks a bit black there, doesn't it? Le Mans green, great names as well. Sunset, Daytona yellow, pearl green, evergreen. These are obviously going to be your metallic-y colours, which again I'm struggling a little bit there, but that onyx green looks quite a nice metallic. More metallics of copper brown and sapphire blue. And then we've got the trim colours there, black trim, ruby trim, tan trim and marquee trim. And then finally you've got the optional extras. S is standard, always an option. So not badly equipped for the time overall. Your push button radio is standard on the GXL. Tinted glass all round is standard on the GXL. Sliding roof is standard. Vinyl roof is standard. Automatic transmission is standard. And you can even get them as options on the standard Granada. The estate isn't quite as highly spec'd, or you couldn't really spec it as high by the looks of it. So you got there is your Ford Friday and the Mark 1 Ford Granada. What a fantastic big car they were. Of course, rust was an issue, as a lot of cars in the 70s, not just Ford, but certainly they did suffer for that. So I don't know how many of them is left today. And of course the Consul would be even rarer. But thank you so much for watching today's Ford Friday. Please do enjoy your weekend. We'll have another episode tomorrow for your Saturday special, showing your special edition models. But thank you, like I say, for watching. Please do like and subscribe. We'll see you very soon. Take care and goodbye.